I'm feeling good, Tommy boy. How are you, brother?
I'm well. I'm sore as all get out, as we were just sharing offline. Just finished the Chad this morning. Took way longer than I thought, but that's a workout that's all mental and for an amazing reason. It's, you lose a loved one to suicide. They had things that we don't have. A network that lets them know often than always that they're loved and they're seen and they're heard. Unfortunately, he made a decision to take his life. And it's not about that as much as it's about making sure that nobody else feels that they weren't seen and heard and supported and honored. It took me 97 minutes and I was not expecting that. I stepped up my weight, but not to say that that's an excuse, but you just get in there and your legs just start quitting. And it's all about mind over every single thing else that's screaming at you. And you want to talk about something that you'll never forget. It's the reason that you do it. So
that's right.
Hard hitting, heavy hitting. And I'm glad in quotations, I guess. I'm glad that I can do it. And I'm thankful I made it through. So all that said, how are you?
I'm well. I wanted to tag on to that. A lot of times what we say is we get to do these sorts of things. And we don't realize how often, how blessed we truly are to have that opportunity. The cold air in your lungs reminding you you're alive, the pain in your legs for the next few days, reminding you that you have the ability to continue moving. So it's a blessing. When we do these types of challenges, it's a reminder. It's a reminder. A lot of times when you're looking around to your brother to your left and to your right, you're looking at these guys and realizing you're there to shoulder this burden together. And that's a blessing that we have as men of F3 Nation, that we have brothers across the world, 70,000 guys that we can lean on. And so it's always an honor to do those types of events with men who are not going to quit, because if they quit, they're quitting on you, and you won't quit because you don't want to quit on them. So, and I mean, it's one of the reasons that we do the things we do. So it's always an honor. And speaking of an honor, we're talking to some high impact men today about something that has been several years running now. And this has a charitable element to it. I'm going to bump it. I'm going to set it, and I'm going to let you spike it, Tommy boy.
Outstanding. Scott Sterling. So here's the deal. For several years now in F3, I've been able to participate in the Gobbler Challenge. And this will drop on the 19th of November, which means in less than a week, we will be celebrating Turkey Day, aka Thanksgiving. Whether or not you celebrate it wherever you're hearing this, here and abroad, you definitely have things to be thankful for. And so Gobbler has put together a CSOP event each year, which has become tradition across the region. And so without further ado, we're going to bring him on and then a special guest to talk about the why, and then wrap it all up in a pretty bow in time for Christmas. So Gobbler, welcome to the Stuff We're Trying podcast, man. Before we start, quick name-a-rama, and how'd you wind up with the name Gobbler?
Yes, Eric Nowak, 42 Gobbler.
Gobbler.
Currently of the newish region, South Sound, because we are the south of the Puget Sound. So that is where I'm at right now. Live here in Tacoma, Washington. So how'd I get my name? I'll give you the shortest version. So I showed up to a pre-launch workout in Pittsburgh, and FIAB, our favorite bazooka.
Sunshine Bazooka.
And this is kind of funny if for those of you who know me, he wanted to name me Bunny because he said I ran fast. I don't run fast. I run slower than I did then, but I did not run fast, but he wanted to do that. So of course he couldn't name me because it wasn't an official F3 workout, which is probably a good thing. Fast forward a week or two, and we were at our first F3 workout for Pittsburgh. So I was there the day we launched, and a couple guys from the Carolinas had come up. I want to say Stone Cold and Baracus were their names. And we're going around the name. And I've been around male community enough to know that the surest way to get a nickname is to protest that nickname. So I went in with the attitude of keep my mouth shut and just go with it. And so, of course, FIAB, who does not believe in the term keep your mouth shut and go with it, was, of course, trying to get the name Bunny thrown out there. And no one really took it. But I think it was Baracus, was a graduate of Virginia Tech, as am I. And so they landed on the name Gobbler.
I love
That
how those
tracks.
come together, because no matter how hard you try to force it, what's going to happen is what's going to happen. So
Right.
that's a great one. Let's do this then, to bring anybody up, because in the words of Stan Lee, every episode is somebody's first episode, although he uses the word issue. Talk us through the iteration of the Gobbler Challenge and where we are today.
So, take you back to 2018. I was in Pittsburgh. I had, just for everyone's knowledge, I don't think we plan to get this personal, but we'll go with it. I had recently, my wife and I had separated throughout the course of the year, and we were essentially divorced. Paperwork hadn't been signed, but she was living out here on the West Coast at that time with my daughters, and I was essentially in Pittsburgh by myself with my significant other at the time, who's now my M. And I really didn't have a lot going on for Thanksgiving that year. So, I was like, what am I going to do? What are we going to do? I had, I'd been to Charlotte, met Dred for the first time. I'd done a bicycle ride, my 12-day bicycle ride. I'd done all that. I was thinking about doing grow ruck and whatnot, but I really was in this place where I didn't have my family around me. I didn't, except for my F3 brothers. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to go to work on Thanksgiving Day. What are we going to do? And I said, you know what? I'm putting out a hard workout. I don't even know if I called it I don't think I called it the Gobbler Challenge. I just said, we're going to do a Thanksgiving Day workout and earn your bird workout. And so I put out the stipulations. We picked an AO that I had that was our normal Tuesday, Thursday AO. And I said, bring a cinder block. It's like one of the first times we used cinder blocks in Pittsburgh too. Like, I know it sounds weird, but like we hadn't even done the IPC challenge at that point, like in Pittsburgh. So this was really different for Pittsburgh. I said, bring your cinder blocks, and we're going to do a 90-minute, 60 minutes of work, 15 minutes on either side, but 90-minute workout. It's going to be harder than normal, yada, yada. And I had about 14, 15 guys come out. They each brought a cinder block. I had to bring cinder blocks for guys. And at that point, I didn't have my truck. I had a Ford Fusion, and I had I don't know how many cinder blocks stuck in the trunk, and that thing was riding low, right? So we rolled in. That's
how they market that vehicle, right? Is built to carry cinder blocks.
So I hope you've got a big trunk, because I'm putting my blocks in it.
Yeah.
So anyways, thinking back on it, it's just so different than where I am now and whatnot. But and for whatever reason, I think back, it must have been 15 degrees that morning. It was cold in Pittsburgh. It was not a warm day. And I had your normal Pittsburgh guys out there. Sherman was out there. I'm pretty sure Vowles was out there. All the normal Pittsburgh guys that we know and love were out there. And the workout consisted of, there was a hill in this neighborhood, and I had them take the cinder block, and you would do, I want to say, so you walked up and down the hill, and each time you got to the top or bottom of the hill, you would do five, I think, front squats to overhead press, to back squat, up and over. And that was one. Guys hated it. And we finished with some exercises, and that was the first Gobbler Challenge. 2019, I moved, and so there was no challenge because I was literally in the process of moving. I moved in my home on 2nd November out here, and so the next year came around, and I said, you know what, we're doing it. And so the guys from Tacoma joined in. I think Rad even participated that year from Charleston, and we just
That's right.
That year it involved 500 swings and along with some other exercises, 500 block swings. And the sole reason I did that was because I was doing the 10,000 kettlebell swing challenge that Don John has. If you've never read that, you can look it up. It's a great workout. You do 10,000 swings in a month, and I had to stay on track. And so I developed the Gobbler Challenge around that. Last year we did 2 kilometers of bear crawl. Worst decision of my life.
Yeah, let me speak to you real quick about that. I want anybody who actually completed that workout I want to know your name and your time, because I attempted that workout 3 times and never came close to completing that workout.
Wait a minute, were you supposed to complete it? I'm confused. I thought it was an unattainable goal.
That one was horrible. Yeah. It was, I bit off more than I could chew on that one.
I'm still paying my dentist and orthodontist and oral surgeon for all the teeth surgeries I had to go through.
It's called the Cigna, the Gobbler Cigna challenge.
So I had some guys here. I'm looking at last year's spreadsheet. And I have things like did not complete, did this over 2 workouts, cut bear crawl to 30 meters, like ran no bear crawls. Like I actually can't tell you if someone fully.
I mean, I definitely did not complete it, but I can now open tin cans with my bare hands. So.
Chili Pepper says, did you modify? No. Did pause for 15 minutes for COT. And then same thing from Sir Wallace in Suncoast. They say they completed it, but they stopped for COT.
All right. I'm going to go out there and meet these guys. So well done. If fellas, well done. I mean, I'm not saying anything other than well done.
we didn't do bear crawls in Tacoma for the next 6 months.
Oh, no doubt.
So,
well, you mentioned him. I don't want to step on IJ's toes, but you mentioned him. So I want to bring him on because this year, what I love that you've done is you're always looking to expand and how do we help the next guy? How do we move the thing forward? In essence, how do we make it bigger than ourselves? So Rat, why don't you jump on the call, man? I know you got a lot of fun things going on, but we'll start the same way. Name-a-rama, and how'd you get your name?
Yes, thank you, Tommy Boy. Jamal Walton, 37, Rat. So I started my F3 journey in Charleston, South Carolina in 2018. For those that don't know, I went to Virginia Military Institute, graduated in 2007. Charleston, South Carolina is the home of the Citadel Bulldogs, which is our rival. So I just happened when I started at my home AO in Charleston, Swamp Angel. As soon as I said Jamal Walton, I'm from Virginia Military Institute, they said we're going to call him Rat. For those that don't know, the freshman year, you go through what's called the Rat line. And they just said, hey, we're going to call him Rat. I know it from a pop culture standpoint, you know, rats are not always good things, but I always try to make it a positive. So I say rat means rising above turmoil. So that's what I took it and kind of and flipped it.
I mean, you got to own it.
I did my rat year at Virginia Tech Corps Cadets in 98 to 99. So that really means something to me too.
Yeah. So I'm fine with rat, but I always try to turn it into a positive.
Good. So as I mentioned, Gobbler and you have connected to make this year a little bit of a buy-in for a bigger cause. So tell us a little bit about the Pearl Foundation of Puget Sound.
Yes. The Pearl Foundation of the Puget Sound was established in 1998 by Delta Pi chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So I'm a part of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. For those that don't know, this fraternity was founded November 17th, 1911 on the campus of Howard University. It was the first historically Black college and university first historically Black college and university fraternity founded on that campus. So I am a part of Delta Pi chapter, and we have this unique foundation. It's a 501c nonprofit. It's all supported, the projects, by volunteers, and 100% of any donation goes directly to the youth programs. So Gobbler and I had a chance to work together for a 5K, which is one of the programs that the Pearl Foundation of Puget Sound also puts together. So with the Gobbler Challenge, he mentioned, hey man, what about working with us here? Which I thought was great. And really the mission is we want to foster self-confidence, leadership skills, positive decision-making, and to the underserved populations, young men and young women, especially people of color. So that's really the mission. We feel that we want to be dedicated. We want to expose these young people to how they should live their lives positively. And we want to make sure we go in their communities and also cultivate ways that they can learn and just see that they can be better than maybe what some of their circumstances are. So we have a few programs that I mentioned, the 5K. We have a scholarship program that we also support. We've awarded about $50,000 in scholarships to deserving students since we've been established. We have a global day of service that we also do, where we will reach out to Coffee Oasis, a shelter for youth that are actually homeless and they're trying to find housing. So we definitely have programs where this money will go and it will be effective, and it will help these kids. And I just think when you think about the dynamite, the third F and men of F3, this is what it's all about. It's about reaching in the community and doing great things and helping others. And I think the Gobbler Challenge is a fantastic first step, workout, but to have an opportunity to have those dollars and cents go to kids and also go to kids that need it probably more than most is where I think this is a fantastic opportunity. So appreciate Gobbler thinking of us. I'm obviously tied in F3, so I think it's a win-win anyway. And Tommy, for an Italian job, appreciate you having me up here. But yeah, that's a little bit about the Pearl Foundation of Puget Sound.
Love it. You know, what we love about that, the mission that you're talking about with the Pearl Foundation lines up so well with the mission of F3. You know, you mentioned communities, invigorating male community leadership. I mean, that's the goal of F3. That's part of our mission. But you're invigorating young men in the Pearl Foundation. You're realizing that a strong male leadership in a community can take that community to high standards and high heights. And a lot of times it starts with the youth, investing in a young man, telling him that he has value, that he has worth, and not to let his circumstances define who he is and who he can be. So love that we're pulling these two things together. You know, for the sake of the conversation, for someone who's never heard of the Gobbler Challenge, we'll give it a high level. It's challenge. It is a challenge. This is, you know, we like to say in F3, we have these CSOPs, completely stupid and utterly pointless. This is completely stupid and utterly purposeful, I guess, you know, tying in with
I see what you did there.
Pearl Foundation. You see what I did there. I changed it a bit, but I guess I'll start off with just a simple question for those who've never heard of it. You know, why should a man do something? And this is for Gobbler. Gobbler, why should a man do something on Thanksgiving morning or around Thanksgiving? Why should he even challenge himself a little bit?
So, Thanksgiving is probably my favorite holiday. And, you know, jokes aside that, you know, it's when I get to eat food and you know, and all that stuff. It just, I have personally become a little disillusioned with all of the commercialism around Christmas and Easter and all of those traditionally religious holidays. And, you know, obviously we all try to celebrate them in our way, but it's this constant pushback on what I see is just this taking over the holiday for what those holidays, what they're intended, and trying to bring them home. And so there's always this tug and pull with the kids and, yeah, you know, and I don't think Thanksgiving has that. I think Thanksgiving, we have, for whatever reason, has kind of remained a little pure in the households, and we've kind of always been able to focus on the gratitude. And so, you know, I look at Thanksgiving, it's a special holiday here in America. You can't, you know, while you can go overseas and you can celebrate Christmas, which is awesome, you don't go overseas and celebrate Thanksgiving, you know. And so Thanksgiving, and you really don't realize that until you deploy as a service member, how it is a uniquely American holiday. And so it is unique to us. And I think that as men, you know, it's that holiday where you can take a step back, and because of how it just works, we always have time in the morning, a little extra time in the morning to do something. And you could treat that as your day to sleep in, and that is your right. And, you know, if you want to do it that way, that's fine. Or you can take that time when your kids are sleeping in, and you can get up, you know, get with your brothers and do something just a little bit harder. You're going to work hard around the dinner table to eat your fair amount of tryptophan and turkey. I got it. That's your business. But Thanksgiving is also a time for some people of stress because they get around the dinner table and they can't keep discussions on the level, and they get in fights with family. And I got that. I have family. I don't agree with them all. But there's something pure about getting up in the morning and just doing something just a little bit harder than you do normally to set the day. And as I say, you know, earn your bird, be a turkey, don't be a chicken. You know, there's all kinds of, you know, things I throw out there to stir the pot and to have fun. And I think it's all in good fun. I'm not sure everyone thinks that, but that's fine.
Well, the
It's
Ranger
also-
pennies certainly scream good fun. So.
Yes, I was going to say it's a great opportunity to bring out the short shorts and invite your brother-in-law to do something difficult because he's going to be
Yes.
stuck. Hey, listen, man, you can stick around the house if you want. The kids are about to wake up and this is about to get crazy, or you can come with me. Why don't you come with me? You might want to come with me.
Hey, if you want to talk politics tonight, you got to show up with me in the morning and do this workout. That's the only way you get to talk about politics in my house. And even then, I still don't care. No, I love it. Rat, I know you're off cheering on some athletes right now. You're at the NCAA tourney, which is awesome. And we talked about that off air. Talk a little bit about because we all have a big heart for the youth. I have a big heart for those who definitely feel not only marginalized, but unseen and unheard. I firmly believe that those who are unseen and unheard or feel that they are, that's a pathway to a really bad set of circumstances and a really bad set of choices. And I also believe all of us are one or two bad choices away from living a life that looks completely different than a privileged life that we have right now. So, talk real quick just about where your heart is with these young people and why you're drawn to what you've experienced in F3 and what you want to share with them through the Pearl Foundation.
Yeah, I think it's about uplifting others. And I think, you know, we go pick up the six, we're always going to uplift that brother. We're always going to go pick up that brother. So I look at it the same way with the youth. You know, there's some kids that don't have the best of this or the best of that, but they have something about them that's special. So as men of F3 or just men in general, we need to always go back and lift as we climb, because I believe a high impact man is always climbing. And the more that we can start lifting others up and showing them that they can be just as good as us and just as better as they want to be is the way that I look at it. So I feel with the Pearl Foundation of the Puget Sound and F3, why it ties in together is I believe it's all about making people see where they can go and how effective they can be in life. But when it comes to a group of people coming together and just pouring into each other, that's what it's all about. You know, it takes a village to raise a lot of children these days, and having brothers from F3 a part of that is special. And you know, Gobbler knows this. One of the things about me, I love poetry. I love to recite poetry. So I'm gonna give you guys a little something. This poem is called "The Bridge Builder" by Will Allen Drumgle. A lone man goes a lone highway. Came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing the sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fears for him. But when he turned safe on the other side, he built the bridge to span the tide. "Old man," said a fellow pilgrim near, "you're wasting your strength for building here. Your journey will end within the ending day. You never again must pass this way. You've crossed this chasm deep and wide. Why build this bridge at even tide?" The builder lifted his old gray head. "Good friend, in the path I've come," he said. "There followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. The chasm that was as not to me, to a fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I'm building this bridge for him." The Bridge Builder by Will Allen Drumgle. So that
Goosebumps.
is what
Goosebumps.
that's what I'm all about. We're bridge builders at F3. We're building bridges with brothers that come in to the COT, and we're bridge builders for the youth who need it more than anything. You know, we have to show them and realize that we have pitfalls that we have went through, but we also don't want them to go through those things. So as the poem said, you know, to a fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. You know, he too must cross in the twilight dim. I'm building this bridge for him. So hopefully that makes sense.
It does. Yeah. You can't fix a problem. You can't totally fix a problem you never had, but you can show the intention to come alongside your brother and be of service in any way, shape, or form. Right. So I love it. I mean, we're lighting the next 43 feet. Is what you're talking about. So I got one more question for you, and it might go back to each of you. And Rat, thank you for sharing that poem in a podcast that will have dropped 2 weeks before, or a week before this drops. We just talked about poetry. So as we record, listen to tomorrow's episode. We talk a little bit about poetry. That being said, my question for you, and it may be for both of you, is because Gobbler, I know you'll talk about how to get signed up. How can the men of F3 who have heard your heart support the Pearl Foundation? And if there's a link we can drop in the notes, we'll do that too.
Yes, I'll definitely give you the information to drop the link. It is www.pearlfoundationofpugetsound.org. So 3 W's pearlfoundationofpugetsound.org. It explains about the programs we have, our vision, our mission. And again, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And, this is also tax deductible. So yeah, take time, read it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But yeah, that's how you find it.
Outstanding. IJ, should I go to Gobbler or go to you, my friend?
Well, you covered what I was going to ask, which is Gobbler. let's learn the semantics, the details of how to sign up. What does it entail? What needs to be done? So yeah, just the detail piece of it, for a guy who says, yeah, I want to do something a little bit harder than I normally do on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah. So right now, if you want to do the Gobbler Challenge, the things you need to go ahead and prep is you need a standard F3 coupon, the 8x8x16 block. That is the standard. For those of you who get something larger, that's great, but that's not the standard. That's above the standard. You want to lay out, preferably go get your local school and get a 400-meter track. You'll be set if you plan to meet there. If you don't have access to a track, you'll need something like 400 meters. There is a run or ruck option, which it'll be a run or ruck 200 meters. But if you have a football field, you're set to go. So standard block, 400 meters. There's a run ruck option. You want to grab as many guys as possible. Tomorrow, we'll be shooting a video tomorrow, but on the 20th of November, there'll be an upload on YouTube where we go through the workout. I'm just going to go ahead and drop a nugget here. It's going to be a 60-minute AMRAP. So you can plan around that. So that was something we went with this year is instead of putting out a set amount of work and guys struggling to get through it, we said, you know what, we're going to do a 60-minute AMRAP. So what I found is, and if we go back to our IPCs, a lot of people struggle with those 45-minute AMRAPs because they're not used to doing 45 minutes of solid work. So this is taking it up a notch, and it is 60 minutes of solid work. No breaks, or if you want to take a break, that's up to you. And then you'll record the number of reps on the spreadsheet. So kind of sprinkling some tidbits as we go out for people who take the time to listen to the different podcasts. So as we said, all the proceeds over and above go to the Pearl Foundation of Puget Sound. If you want, we have patches for sale. If you've been on Twitter, you've seen it. It's a nice yellow patch. I decided I wanted something that stands out. So it's a yellow patch. And the design actually comes from, kind of wrap things all together, softball out of Puget Sound. Yep, you got it there.
There
Softball,
it is for those who are watching online.
Nice.
Softball out of Puget Sound does IPC blocks. For those of you who have seen those, he's done like 100 and some for the guys that have completed IPC. That is actually based on the block that, yep, there it is. He's got it. That sits in my garage, and
there it is.
I stare at it when I do squats. It's based off that.
You're on it.
So what's that, Rad?
Now I would say Italian job. He's on it, man.
He is on it. He's all over social. So yeah, it's based off the block that softball had did for me, that my IPC block. So we liked wrapping that all together there. So shout out to the guys in Greenwood. We just do low tech. So it's a Google sheet. You'll just go there. All the directions are on the Google sheet. So you'll see a bunch of people have already signed up. You'll see step-by-step instructions. We're asking for $5 per patch, which is pretty minimal. And then there's a Venmo link that you can use to send me money. If you don't use Venmo, my phone number is there, so you can Zelle money. People send it both ways. Okay. One thing I'm telling people is to try and save on shipping. We're sending one patch receiver per region. All right. So if you have 10 people from your region sign up, we're going to select a person. You can either self-select or I can select. It's up to you. But, I think some of the guys I'm looking at the spreadsheet, the Katie guys already, they put in there who to who to send it to. So if you want to select who that is, or you can just put the address of the person you want me to send it to. So it's in there. You just put your name in there, the address, how many patches you want. We've got some people ordering 5, some people ordering 3, some people aren't ordering any, and that's fine. That's totally cool. You know, you order what you want. If you want to do a donation over and above the patch, that's also fine. I've had some people send, you know, $10 for a patch, and that's cool too. So I think that kind of covers the basics for the workout. Like I said, you know, you find your spot, you do it. One of the things I do want to say, you know, when we first did this a couple of years ago, we had people go, well, we're already doing something. We don't want to do your challenge. I said, great. Kind of, and IJ, you'll kind of remember this, you know, when you were the troubadour lead and you were like, hey, you're going west, you want to be a troubadour. I didn't realize that really the only reason he asked me was he had nobody out here. Like
that's accurate. But I do like you and realize you're a hell of a leader. That's another piece of it. But logistically, yes. Yes, logistically, it made sense.
Yeah, I got out here and I realized there was nobody west of the Mississippi really as a troubadour back in 2019. And so one of the other reasons I really want to do the Gobbler Challenge is that out here in the West, we had a lot of regions getting started, and they don't have deep traditions like you have back east. They just don't. And so it was kind of I kind of threw it out there like, hey guys, try doing something on Thanksgiving Day, and here's something you can do, right? As leaders, sometimes we, you know, it's not just enough to tell guys to try something. We have to give them a tool with it. And so that's what it was meant to do. So if you're a Carpex in Seattle and you've got these great traditions, do your traditions, please. But if you don't have anything on Thanksgiving Day and you don't know what to do, try it out. Try it out for a year. See if it works for you. And if it doesn't, that's fine too. But at least hopefully I've got the juices flowing and you've tried something, you know what kind of works for your region, and you can move on from there. So that's the other thing, is that this is really, and you'll see, you look at the sign up, you'll see that there's a lot of regions up there. You know, some of them are Macon, some of them are, let's see, you've got Rock region, you got Columbia, you got Jacksonville, but you've also got Fargo and Boise that are relatively new regions that, you know, this is something they're gravitating towards. Oh, by the way, for those of you who say you can't go outside on Thanksgiving Day and work out, I did say Fargo was
Fargo. Yeah. Fargo. Yeah. Hashtag pack your bags for the guilt trip. Fargo.
So I think I covered everything there for you, Job. If not, let me know.
Love it. Yeah, man. That's exactly what we needed. You said the patches are $5, but if anybody wants to go above and beyond that, and guys, you're not going to get a patch you can't even order patches for $5. I mean, that's a steal. Throw in an extra $5, $10, $20 for the cause. That patch is, I'm going to be honest with you, dude, that's a badass patch. I like that yellow. I saw the pictures of the stacks. I mean, those are pretty legit. So good deal on that.
Shout out to P Shooter who did the patch. Shout out to P Shooter who got me my job at my current location. So
nice.
Legit. Yeah. Worth it. Absolutely worth it.
He's an awesome him.
Yeah, you said the best, Gobbler. I think it's a good way to tie it up. I mean, we're out here training to be durable, and we can't do that if we're not doing hard things. I know I griped and moaned about last year's challenge, but you know what? I learned what my limitations were. I learned how to do a better bear crawl, a more efficient bear crawl. Yeah, you know, we have a ton of traditions here. We're 8 years old in Greensboro. We're certainly not the youngest, and we're not the oldest either. And we've got Planksgiving on Thursday. We have a Black Friday convergence with our FIA ladies. And we pocket your workout for Saturday, and we do it across the region, and it's a blast. So just because it's called the Gobbler Challenge and it's put out there in one man's terms to earn that bird, doesn't mean you can't put it in the back pocket. And if you're brand new and you're looking for a workout, take it and use it for a workout. So Gobbler's not going to care.
See, if you're doing it on Saturday, you're not earning the bird, you're burning the bird.
Yeah, burn the bird, baby.
There you go. It's just a different t-shirt I buy is all. That's all this is. It's all marketing. Yeah, I dig it. Rat, man, I could talk to you all day. I'm really glad we got to cross paths. I look forward to chopping up with you in the future, just because you said a lot of things that I care a lot about. So thanks for carving out time and hopping in the car, firing up the Steve and chatting with us for a little bit. Gobbler, thanks for making the connection, man. You and I have crossed paths in a couple different iterations, like IJ and I as well. But it's always fun to cut it up with you as well and just kind of see what you're doing. I always gather the kids around and we hunker down in front of a fire and watch your YouTube video in your Ranger panties. Because I threaten my kids if they don't behave, that's what I'm going to wear. So I appreciate that. Thank you for always pushing us across the nation to do hard things and to get better while we're doing it. And proud of you for connecting Rat and his heart and his passion and giving an opportunity for guys to pay it forward. So thank you guys for carving it up. Italian Job, I drug that out because I hope you have something fun to say because you're always the man to bring it home.
Well, this conversation today reminded me of something that Will Uter, Deacon, I haven't seen Deacon in a while, but Deacon used to say at our workouts, the reason we go so far above the standard is life will sometimes clip your heels and you're going to drop down. And if you are at the standard and you drop down, you're going to be below it. You're going to be below that standard. It's going to take some time to get back up. So if you are working out physically at a higher standard, when you get clipped, if you get injured, you're going to be at normal level. If you are giving abundantly, generously, audaciously, and you get clipped, maybe you lose that job or whatever, you may fall down into the normal realm. But if we are fighting up here with heavyweights, we're stronger for when we are fighting at the battles of life. So stuff like this, challenging yourself, pushing yourself a little bit harder above the standard, above the fold. If you get clipped, and you will, you're going to fall down to the normal range. But if you're just normal or you're below average and you get clipped, it's a real hard path to get right back up. So Gobbler, thanks for the challenge, for the push. Rat, thanks for your heart and your passion. This is stuff that it makes life worth living, to make an impact, to build that bridge for the man coming behind you. Love the poem. Thanks for sharing that. Tommy boy, always an honor and privilege to spend time with you. Honored to meet Rat. Always enjoy spending some time with Gobbler, even if it is on the digital divide from several thousand miles away. Tommy boy, I'm going to toss it back to you to close us out, man.
Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Fellas, be good or be good at it.
Brothers.
All right. Thank you, guys. Love you, man.